Hi, my name is Michael Sullivan. I'd like to give you an overview of Interactive Statistics 3rd edition. In addition, I'd like to talk to you about resources that are available both for the student and the instructor.
So here we are at the home screen. Here we have the preface to the instructor and the preface to the student. The preface to the student is a video preface that you could assign to your students to get them oriented to the course. Interactive assignments is where the course resides. Click Interactive Assignments and you see you get a full table of contents. Let's go ahead and look at one particular section. I'm going to go to Chapter 9, Estimating the Value of a Parameter. And then you can see we have 4 sections within that chapter. We have a chapter review, a chapter test, and chapter projects. Let's go into one particular section, section 9.1, Estimating a Population Proportion. Over on the right, we have a pre-built learning path. Prepare is a list of MyLab exercises that represent content the student should understand before starting the section. So it's a preparing for this section assignment. It's pre-built in your assignment manager and you can assign it if you want. You could also unassign it. Below that we have read and interact. This is where the students actually learn the content. So there's an interactive assignment and then there's a guided notebook. What the student would do is open the interactive assignment and then simultaneously they would open the guided notebook. So the guided notebook essentially represents an outline of the content that the student's going to learn within the interactive assignment. The expectation is that the student would fill in this guided notebook as they proceed through the section. In this way, the student is going to have a textbook written in their own words upon completion of the course. The guided notebook is available both as a PDF and as a Word document, and it's also available in HTML. So this is the launch page for any given section. There in the upper left-hand corner is where the student would either start or resume an assignment. In the upper right-hand corner is their score earned within the interactive assignment. In the bottom left is a list of all the slates or pages that the student has to proceed through for the interactive assignment. And then a summary on the right. There's 25 reading slates and 11 questions or MyLab exercises. And then we have a list of learning objectives. So to begin, the student would click Resume or Start. If they're just starting, they would end up at this first slate. If they click Resume, they're going to end up at the slate that they left off of in a previous session. So here is again the outline on the left, and the outline on the left can be minimized if you want it out of your way. And then these little circles indicate what you've completed and what you have not completed. Every section is going to open with a list of objectives and also is going to have a where you've been, where you're going, go animate video. To move from slate to slate, you can either use the menu on the left or click the next button. Notice that once you advance from a slate, you get a green check mark and then you earn a point for completion of that slate. So the whole idea behind the interactive assignment is that we want students to read a little, watch a little, do a little. The idea is for them to be completely engaged in the material. And again, as the student works through the interactive assignment, they would simultaneously be taking notes in the guided notebook. So here we have the definition of a point estimate. That's sort of read a little. And then we have an example. This particular example is full text. So the student would read the problem, click Show Approach, which shows the approach to solving the problem, and then click Show Solution to get a complete text solution of this particular problem. Now, once a student completes an example, we typically ask them to do a couple of exercises in MyLab. This happens to be a drop-down menu item. So we would say a point estimate is the value of a statistic, so on and so forth. Check answer, and we got it correct. Again, you earn points. This particular problem is a free response MyLab exercise, And in the bottom left, you have your learning aids. So I'll just move along from there. Here's where the interactive assignment becomes a little bit more engaging. Not only do we give text, but we also have the ability to embed video. This happens to be what we call a lightboard video, where it's me on the screen introducing students to confidence intervals for a proportion. Again, as the student is watching the video, they would take notes in their guided notebook. And this slide summarizes the key ideas learned within that video, and then we have another assessment question. Another place where we have students do a little besides the MyLab exercises is we have the ability to embed statistical applets within the interactive assignment. So this particular applet is demonstrating the meaning of level of confidence using simulation. And so it says construct 1,000 confidence intervals with P is 0.3, which is the default, level of confidence 0.95, and sample size 100. So you can see the student gets engaged in the applet and constructs 1,000 intervals and then identifies the proportion of intervals that capture the true population proportion. And so the student would go through these various activities to learn the meaning of level of confidence. And now this video just reinforces the ideas learned within the previous activity. We're typically going to have videos that follow the activities to make sure that the students are learning the information that we want them to from the activity. And then we have reading assessment questions. So we're reinforcing the meaning of level of confidence here, and then there's a caution video. We have both caution videos and in other word videos throughout the product. I wanted to jump ahead so that you can see another example structure. One of the benefits of being able to embed video is that we can provide the students with video solutions. So here we're constructing a confidence interval for a population proportion. And you can see on the left-hand side here, we have a by hand, TI-8384, StatCrunch, and Microsoft Excel video solutions. So you would tell your students which video solution you want them to watch. So let's say you're utilizing StatCrunch. The student would click the StatCrunch video. And then my co-author, George Woodbury, goes through the process of solving the problem utilizing StatCrunch. Over on the right-hand side, we provide technology step-by-step, which summarizes how to obtain the results using your particular technology. And then finally, at the end, we have an interpretation, or sometimes we'll call it a results section. And what this does is summarizes the results obtained from the video. That way, if a student wants to go back and try this on their own and check their work, they simply can review the interpretation. Sometimes, besides showing video solutions, we'll also provide a complete text solution if we feel that there's benefit in doing so. Here we're computing a population standard deviation, and computing these by hand seems like a worthwhile exercise to understand how standard deviation measures spread, and for that reason we provide a complete text solution for this particular example. And the student continues until they reach the conclusion. Once the student has completed the read and interact, the student can then go to the assessment, which is your typical end of section exercises from MyLab. Now I want to go to the assignment manager so that you can see how these assignments are structured. So here is the out of the box preparing for section 9.1. So if I click edit and then next, and you can see these are the list of preparing for problems that we've identified as being necessary for the student to be successful. This is your typical assignment manager, so you as the instructor can add or remove as many exercises as you like. And in addition to that, you certainly have the option of unassigning this if you don't want your students to have to complete this. If you do assign the preparing for section 9.1, it's recommended that you use that as a prerequisite to getting into the 9.1 interactive assignment. So let me edit that, click next. And what happens here is each and every slate that you saw in the interactive assignment becomes an assignment within the assignment manager. So what this means is that if you wanted to add exercises between 9.1 RA9 and 9.1 RA4, you can do so. In addition, let's say that you don't want to cover determined sample size, you can simply select these assignments and then remove them from your assignment. In addition, remember from here, the out-of-the-box product has you going to the end of section MyLab problems, but if you just want to drop those MyLab problems in right here, you can do so. So you just go chapter 9, section 1, and then pick your exercises and drop them in over here. Click Next. And just as a review, see how out of the box it says preparing for section 9.1 is set up as a prereq to get into the 9.1 interactive assignment. And again, we have an out-of-the-box 9.1 homework set that is MyLab exercises. You as well can edit this as you see fit. So really, you have the ability to edit right down to the page level. So you have a lot of power as the instructor. Now, part of this interactive assignment, we have what are called real data problems. These are problems that are based on real data as opposed to algorithmically generated, so-called made-up data. So I'll just show you what one of these looks like. So here's one from section 4.2, and this represents cost, return on investment, and graduation rate for a sample of 50 colleges within the United States. And here's the data. So University of Wyoming, so on and so forth, along with the data. And of course, you can always open this data directly into StatCrunch, where we provide a list of all the real data problems within the preface to the instructor. In addition, throughout the text, we have tornado problems. So this could be thought of as a themed problem. These problems are based on all tornadoes that struck the United States between 1950 and 2020. So click Next. Here's one from section 9.1 that we just covered. So this contains the variable F0 that was determined for all tornadoes. So this is whether a tornado is F0 or not. And you can see here's the large sample of the data. So 1 represents it was an F0 tornado, 0 means it was not. And you can go through that problem. So there's these tornado problems throughout. And then last, new to this edition, are technology-specific problems. What that means is that the learning aids provide specific technology help for StatCrunch, the TI graphing calculators, and Excel. So if I want to have help on section 4.1 using StatCrunch, you select the -SC problems. So here are the learning aids. So if I say view an example, I'll just continue through this so that you can see how it says use StatCrunch to draw the scatter diagram. And then it says graph, highlight, scatter plot, so on and so forth in the dialog box. So the learning aids teach your students how to get the results using StatCrunch. Similarly, the TI exercises will demonstrate the TI calculator, and -E demonstrate Excel. So now let me give you an overview of all the other resources that you have available for both your student and yourself. We already mentioned the guided notebook, and that the guided notebook is available as PDFs, as Word documents, and accessible HTML versions. The guided notebook was written by George Woodbury. It follows the material in the interactive assignment. The student is expected to fill out the notebook as they progress through the reading assignment. When complete, the student has a complete text written in their own words. Instructors may want to check each student's guided notebook to verify the student is completing each interactive assignment, although the interactive assignment has its own little gradebook to also monitor that students are completing that assignment. In addition, there is a guided notebook instructor's edition that is located under Instructor Tools and then Instructor Resources, And there is the instructor's guided notebook. If we go back to the interactive assignment, and let's go back to section 9.1, each section has what we call additional exercises. The additional exercises are traditional paper pencil exercises that are available for each section. And so what you can do as the instructor is copy these and drop them into a traditional paper pencil assignment that you would grade by hand. The data resources are available in StatCrunch, from my GitHub website, or in the MyLab. So you can see there's a wide variety of additional paper pencil exercises that you can utilize. For me personally, I assign these in Canvas and use the Canvas speed grader to grade the assignment so that they are a formative assessment. The answers to the additional exercises are in instructor resources. In addition, we have a student activity workbook. The student activity workbook has activities that allow for a deeper understanding of a variety of topics. These may be used as individual assignments, group work, or classroom examples. So here are the activities from section 9.1, using an applet, constructing confidence intervals with M&Ms, tips for a taxi ride, and so on. If we go to instructor tools and instructor resources, you also have an instructor's resource guide. The instructor resource guide provides an overview of each section of the interactive assignment, topics that should be emphasized, hints for teaching the material using the various delivery mechanisms such as online or traditional lecture or flipping. And finally, it includes additional examples that may be presented in class that are different from the interactive assignment. Also under instructor resources are classroom notes. The classroom notes are a great resource for instructors teaching a lecture. They provide an outline of material within each section that must be filled in by students as an instructor progresses through the lecture. In addition, they contain examples different from those presented in the interactive assignment. And we have one more resource for you. Learning Catalytics is a bring your own device web-based clicker system. George and I have written modules that you may use in your classroom. If you are interested in the Learning Catalytics modules, please reach out to your Pearson representatives and we'll share the course with you. So that's the overview of Interactive Statistics 3rd edition. George and I hope that you really enjoy using this product and that your students find it a quality tool for making them successful in introductory statistics.